is feeling a headache, a chest pain, abdominal pain, even the joint pain. Now he don't have drugs and has nowhere to get the drugs.
Are you worried that he might die soon?
Yes.
USAID headquarters in Washington, D.C. was closed today.
Assistance for the PEPFAR program has also been put on hold.
The United States government is not a charity.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out.
What's happening right now is dangerous for the United States and humanity.
We here? Let's go. Today we are joining Grace, a volunteer health worker, as he goes on his daily rounds of these remote villages in Uganda. For years he has checked on HIV patients, coordinating their life-saving treatment with charities.
So far now, I have 5 people who don't have drugs at all.
HIV drugs.
They don't have enough drugs.
Everything changed in January when, during his first week in office, Donald Trump abruptly slashed funds to the US's global HIV programs. That was devastating here. 70% of Uganda's HIV response relies on USAID. Money that is now gone. James, his niece Beatrice, and her 11-year-old daughter are all HIV positive.
Omutima.
Monica, a mother of 5, is not only worried about her own life, but that of her 14-year-old son, who is also HIV positive and off his medication. Both of them managed to borrow some drugs from Monica's sister, who's also HIV positive, but even that has now run out.
Eddagala sirina sikyasobola kukola. Oba oli awo n'ak'okulya sikyasobola keetuusaako okukakola okulima. Kubanga olaba n'olususu olwange lwatandika ofuukuuka bwe luti.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear that
In a shocking move during the first few hours of his presidency, Donald Trump signed an executive order that froze almost all foreign assistance for 90 days.
We've also effectively ended the left-wing scam known as USAID, the agency's...
That included PEPFAR, the US's global HIV/AIDS response program. PEPFAR was first introduced by Republican President George W. Bush in 2003.
Seldom has history offered a greater opportunity to do so much for so many.
It is regarded as one of the world's most successful health initiatives ever, and has been integral to putting the world on track to end the AIDS pandemic by 2030.
Because of the US, there are about 20 million people across the world that are on life-saving treatment. So a pause or a freeze in that funding is devastating. If PEPFAR were permanently discontinued, there would be an additional 4 million AIDS-related deaths, an additional 6 million new HIV infections by 2029.
Because what you're saying is you were on track for this crisis essentially to be over by 2030, but you're now talking about there being an additional...
We're talking about an additional 2,300 new infections every single day. There's no way that we can get to the end of AIDS. With these number of new infections, we cannot turn off the tap.
The US State Department says a waiver is in place for life-saving care. But on the ground in Uganda, AIDS clinics say no money is getting through. Family Hope supports 5,000 HIV patients, including children. They had to temporarily close for 2 months and only recently reopened with a skeleton staff.
We apologize for that, but now we are open 2 days. My health workers are working on voluntary. They are not being paid. For us here, we are 100% funded by USAID.
Wow. So you lost all your money overnight?
All the money went.
For how long will the current supplies that you actually have?
For the next 2 months.
But that's in jeopardy because you don't know if the supply will come.
In case it doesn't come, then it means we have to close.
This worries their most vulnerable patients, like 19-year-old Alex.
What was it like, that moment when you learned that all the funding was cut?
Feeling like I wanted to drown myself because all my whole life I was getting my medicine at family home. I first walked this whole city just thinking, where can I get my medicine?
Alex is speaking to us anonymously because of the stigma around HIV/AIDS. He is worried this is only going to increase as infections rise.
It's really hard being a victim of HIV. It's like being a suspect of murder. That crowd being just pointing at you, calling you a walking dead because having HIV, like it feels like we're just a walking dead.
So they call you the walking dead if you have HIV?
I have HIV.
So for you, these funding cuts means no medicine, which means no future.
No future.
Gaps in treatment are a major concern for the staff, who warn of a surge in infections and also drug-resistant HIV strains.
When you take your drugs well, you stay healthy, but now when they default, because the drugs are not there, it means they are going to get opportunistic infections like TB. It means the virus in their body will replicate, and we shall have more drug-resistant clients outside there. They will also be taking the same virus that is already strained from Uganda to US, and the trend will continue. So let's be humane. Let us consider to reverse that decision. I know it's possible. I know it's possible.
The most vulnerable will bear the brunt. Rose contracted HIV from her violent alcoholic husband who raped her. He later died from the disease, leaving her a penniless single mother of 5. Sex work was the only way to feed her children.
Olunaku emitwalo giyinza okugwa 2.3 kwesatu anti kyenva missing eddagala nga sirina zigula ddagala n'oluusi ekyemisana ekyeggulo tetukirya tulya kyamisana kyokka kimu tulya kimu.
Rose worries without her medication she risks spreading HIV, especially as her symptoms have worsened.
Yes, nina amabweye wansi gannuma n'omutwe gunnuma.
What is your biggest fear right now?
Nakuleka abaana bange nga babonaabona anti kyetufa tulaajanira pulezidenti waffe Trump.
But it's not just patients and medics who are confused about the future of PEPFAR. Even the officials once in charge of these projects are in the dark. We tried to visit the offices of USAID in Jinja. Most of the staff had been sent home. The rest were not permitted to speak to us because of the 90-day freeze.
So sort of the sense I get is that the situation is super unclear. No one knows what's going to happen, either at the end of the 90-day freeze or in the coming months and years.
On board Air Force One, the Independent asked President Trump himself about the fact that HIV treatment is not getting to people despite the waiver being in place.
I'm saying to my colleagues that they're still not getting medicines, and UNAIDS...
Well, that shouldn't be happening. But the other thing, other countries should be helping us with that. And I'm a big fan of getting that solved. But, you know, we're the only country. Where is France? Where is Germany? Where are these other countries? Nobody does anything but the United States. And we spend, you know, billions and billions of dollars. So they should be helping also. But as you know, we did a waiver. You know that, right?
Right.
Well, I can't help that, because if we did a waiver, then you have to get your people to act properly in the waiver. But I do ask, why are we the only country doing it?
The president is not engaged on this. It's just not on his radar. The State Department says they're going to continue to run PEPFAR, but will it be the same large, widely successful program that existed before Elon Musk took a meat axe to USAID?
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
No. The mechanisms for carrying out the program, those networks are atrophying with the demise of USAID, and it's not clear how the administration intends to rebuild that capability.
The fear is a return to the grim days of babies born with HIV, of mass infections and death, and even of a surge in children orphaned because of this pandemic. Hadja is HIV positive, pregnant, and struggling to find medication for herself, but also to prevent transmission to her unborn baby. The UN warns that if the programs are discontinued, there could be as many as 1 million additional babies born with HIV over the next 5 years.
If you don't get these drugs, what will happen for you and also for your unborn child?
Kubanga obojire ngezira buyambi era obwamu okutya anti era buli wofa abaana tebaddeemu abonaabonamuku era baba banaku.
And this is another potential outcome predicted by the UN, that by 2030 there could be an additional 3.4 million children orphaned by HIV/AIDS. That is already a reality for Promise, who we join as she does her rounds, checking on her HIV-positive patients in this Zimbabwe village. Like Grace in Uganda, Promise is also a volunteer health worker whose patients have run out of medicine, with a deadly effect. Both children lost their parents to HIV/AIDS because they couldn't find or afford their medicines.
Can I ask about the little boy? What's your name?
My name is
Okay.
Paenda kunotsvaka mushonga dzavo asvika kudini kuzvisina pamweni mbuya nezvishoma saka pese ndindaidini ndaingoita ndichingoabatsira kuti wadya here kuti rara adya adini ndindaningodini ndichingoona saka paakazoshaika zvinhu zvakandondirwadza
kozi hapana patinonyatsoti apa ndo panokwanisa kuti vana vararame zviri kurwadza.
Gogo wangu nasekuru wangu arikudini ari kunditsvakira zvimwe zvacho but dziri nhau dzichikorwa zvimweni haazvinatsokwanisa
kuchikafu tinotoenda marikicho
kurwadza kwatikuita tobarwadza zvikuru kuti inyaya unozongozvitambira kuti zvinhu zvingorimo muupenyu but zvinhu zvichitongorwadza.
With the abrupt halt of aid, this has meant that the most vulnerable haven't been able to get hold of medication, and there is no backup plan and there are no safety nets. We just met 2 children whose parents died because they had no access to medication. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There will be more deaths. There will be a surge in infections, which is painting a very bleak picture of the future.
Can you explain why people in the UK, in the US, should care?
HIV and AIDS is still a global pandemic. I've often said that there is no wall that can be built tall enough or no net that can be thrown that is wide enough that can prevent HIV from coming into different borders. HIV and AIDS knows no boundaries.
I don't have drugs to give him, I don't have food, I don't have other necessities to him, so I'm almost helpless to him. He may die, anytime he may die.
I don't think it's possible to go back to what was. We have to collectively figure out how to move forward in the new reality.